Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome back to another Christmas edition of Saturday Horror Movie Reviews. I'm here today with Tom Reimer, my co-host from Found Footage Fridays. And in case it isn't overly obvious, we are talking the horror Christmas movie, Gremlins.
Big fan. Happy to be
I know.
here.
I was like, oh, I need to message him and ask if he wants to do a review for Gremlins since I'm doing Christmas movies for December. Oh my God, that's so cute. How many of these things do you have?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's the mask. He's so cute. Love it. Oh, Gremlins. I love this. This is one of my favorite horror Christmas movies.
Me too.
Let me pull it up really quick because I have our other stuff pulled up. Let's see. Gremlins. Okay, so if you're not familiar, Gremlins came out in 1984.
Wow.
It is currently streaming on HBO Max and Peacock, which is interesting. I wouldn't have even thought about it streaming because I think I own it.
I definitely own it. Yeah. I own both.
Yeah. Movies. I think I own both of them as well. So, it being an 80s movie, the score currently for IMDb is a 7.3 out of 10, a 5.5 from Common Sense. I don't know what that is. 84%.
That's like Google. The parent, that's like the parental guy,
Oh.
Movie, yeah.
Oh. That's good to know. Yes. And then it has a 78% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean the synopsis: a gadget salesman is looking for a special gift for his son and finds one at a store in Chinatown. The shopkeeper is reluctant to sell him the mogwai, but sells it to him with the warning to never expose him to bright light, water, or feed him after midnight. After all of this happens, the result is a gang of gremlins that decide to tear up the town on Christmas Eve.
This is one of my favorite Christmas movies. And it is a Christmas movie.
It is.
I watch it almost every year, right around December 1st.
Yep.
Which we're getting really close to now. Actually, maybe it'll have already happened by the time, I don't know when this.
Yes.
But I absolutely love this movie. It's ridiculous. A lot of it doesn't make any sense. But that's sort of what's perfect about it. And the setup, if you haven't seen, there's rules. Any movie that has rules, I'm a huge fan of. We don't want to get them wet. We don't want to expose them to direct sunlight, and we don't want to feed them after midnight, whatever that means.
Yeah, and you notice the rules, there's always 3.
Always 3. We talk about this on Found Footage Fridays with The Visit, right?
Yeah, there were 3 rules.
3 rules.
It's always 3.
But the third rule really doesn't make any sense, does it? Don't feed them after midnight. Because isn't everything... I mean, when does after midnight end? When can you feed?
Plot hole.
One of many.
One of many. Okay, so then I know it's probably silly to ask, but what do you give this out of 10?
Oh, I mean, 11 out of 10. Of course. This is a classic film.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I do. 11 out of 10.
11.
I'm not joking. Yes.
Yeah. This is this is a 10 out of 10 for me. I love this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of things that I like in horror all kind of jumbled together with comedic elements that just work so well. I mean, the little creature, and I actually even really like the second one. Like, I know some people are not fans, but I thought the second one was really fun too.
It's fun. Yeah. It's not the same as the first one.
No, of course not. They never are. But yeah, no, I think the creature design is super fun. The mom is like one of my favorite characters.
That her scene, and if you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. It has to be one of my favorite scenes.
Yes,
in the film.
She made I did a video on the top 5 like horror mamas that were like good moms, not like bad moms, but like good moms. And she made my top 5 because like she was like, well, we'll get there. But I mean, I know there's bound to not be too many people that haven't seen this, but we'll keep the pattern of doing the unspoiled first. But she's fantastic. She's so funny, and she's so like such a like loving partner. Like she's so supportive and like funny,
but also like so badass. Like
yeah. I like her a lot. I like her a lot. Yeah, this is just like a fun creature feature kind of movie, and it's very funny and
It's
not
so
so much
80s.
scary, but
So 80s.
so
Like
80s.
painfully sometimes there are many moments in this movie that you say only in the 80s. Like that would not happen today.
Yeah.
No way. That doesn't make any sense. But in
Yeah.
the 80s, it made sense. I guess it made sense.
It made sense in the
You
80s.
grew up then. Yeah. You had to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what else you can really say unspoiled. I mean, it's a super fun movie.
Yeah, it's a classic 80s film. I consider this a Christmas film.
Yep.
And it's so much fun. So without spoiling anymore, yeah, this movie's awesome. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Great score also.
Yeah, it also influenced a lot of things that came after.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah, there's quite a few little small furry creature movies that came out after this that were there's a couple of them. So
the 80s more, I mean, I don't think any other decade really did as much with movies that featured small little monstrous puppets.
yeah,
there were a lot of those Gremlins, Ghoulies, Critters. All, I mean, I guess not little, but Tremors. Like sort of all
just
similar.
this, like, yeah.
But
well, to be fair, and it's not the same exact thing, but we also had Chucky in the 80s.
Oh, yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Same sort of feel.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I guess we'll jump into thoughts and spoil this 84 movie.
Yeah. So, it's awesome, but it's also like really bad awesome, which I love. There's stuff that, as I said, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's one of the most like awful, hilariously awful scenes in a Christmas movie you'll ever see with I forget what is her name. His girlfriend and the
love interest. Yeah.
Hold on, I want to pull up what I have on this movie. So basically, yes, Phoebe Kate.
Yeah.
Where she talks about the reason she doesn't like Christmas. Which is, I have to start there because it's maybe the best moment in the movie, but it's so awful and it has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. It's just this info dump literally on him, on the poor main character, Billy, about her father getting stuck in the chimney and ruining Christmas for her.
Yeah. Well, it's so lighthearted until that part. It's like this immediate
so dark
shift in tone, and you're just like you're like enjoying it, and then you get to this part and you're like, oh.
I know I jumped to that, but I had to address the elephant in the room.
No, I know. I think it's so funny because it is like a really dark moment, and you're just kind of like, where in the world did that even come from? Because like,
yeah.
And then it just goes on. She's like, okay, bye. And she like goes inside and like he goes home, and I don't know. It's just it's so strange.
So it starts, the movie also starts off really interestingly. The way the movie starts, the sort of like prologue for the movie has a completely different feel from the rest of the movie. And you have the dad.
It does.
His name is Randall Peltzer, who is an inventor, which is a big problem in the movie as well. But he's out on a business trip and wants to get his son a gift. So
yeah,
it feels like a old private like movie, like the voiceover at the beginning. It's like a rainy night and he's in a dark alley, and he for some reason just decides to bring home this alien creature back to his son. He has no idea what it is. It's a mogwai, by the way. This one's name is, he decides to call it Gizmo.
Yeah.
He essentially steals it from this old man because the old man's grandson decides to sell it because they need the money,
They need the money. Yeah.
Even though the old man says they cannot sell it. He still takes it in a cage and gives it to his son, who, by the way, must be the person who is making money and supporting this family, the son, because the father is a failed inventor. The mother presumably stayed a
homemaker.
Homemaker.
Yep.
Well, their son, who I'm not even sure how old he's supposed to be, works at a bank. And the reason I'd say, here's another plot hole, I don't know how old he's supposed to be because he hangs out with like a middle schooler. Did you catch that? He does. He's like I think he's in his 20s. And he hangs out with Corey Feldman, who is probably a 6th grader. So, as I said, only in the 80s. You couldn't make that movie nowadays because everyone would be really concerned. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah. So Corey Feldman is, by the way, he's in every 80s movie. He's also in this movie.
100%, yes.
Small part, but he's in this movie.
Yeah.
So he brings home this creature, and he has a list of things he's not supposed to do with it.
Yep.
Of course, he does like all of them very quickly, right?
Yeah.
Leaves out a bucket of fried chicken. After this thing gets water on it, because Corey Feldman dumps water on it, multiplies.
Yep.
And then there's a bunch of them running around, and he leaves out a bucket of fried chicken. There's just a full plate of uncovered fried chicken in the fridge.
It's just out.
Okay, I have a problem.
Like open, out.
It's not even saran wrap. I don't know, saran wrap wasn't invented in 1984, but it's just like uncovered in the fridge. Hugely problematic. They take out that plate of fried chicken, and it's devoured immediately after midnight, I guess, because I always ask the question, like, well, what about time changes? And,
like, how do you know it's after midnight?
How do they know it's after midnight? And again, when are they allowed to eat? They don't say that. So midnight happened. Is it 6 a.m.? Is it 1 o'clock? I don't know. So they eat fried chicken. They turn into disgusting gremlins and basically emerge from alien-like pods, like really reminiscent of the movie Alien, right? And the first person, I'm sorry, I'm like literally going through the entire movie. Is that okay?
I love your enthusiasm. You just go right on ahead.
And then, of course, the best scene that we mentioned, the first person to encounter the gremlins
is the mom.
The mom.
In the kitchen. Like, that's like, she literally, like, she comes around the corner and like, there's this moment of like, only slight hesitation before she like jumps into action. And she's like, this is my kitchen. Absolutely not.
Grabs a knife, shoves one in the blender.
The microwave.
One in the microwave, which is like just awesome. Cooks one in the mic. She's like essentially cooking and stabbing Muppets in this scene. Essentially, is what's happening. And then she's like, one is like jumps out of the Christmas tree, and she's like fighting with it in the Christmas tree right as her son comes home. And this entire time, her husband is nowhere to be seen.
He's gone most of the movie.
Convention, failing at inventing things, I guess. That's basically this movie. And there's like a bunch of awesome side characters. The Futtermans, I guess, are the guy who's like he's basically talking about the gremlins before they even arrive. There's basically a Wicked Witch of the West character, which
your little dog,
okay, that character too. Like, she wants to kill his dog, like very badly.
Like, because he takes the dog to work.
Yep.
And so she like comes into the bank and makes this like big ass scene and totally and also, Wicked Witch of the West.
Characteristic of every 80s movie, Judge Reinhold is in this movie. He just happens to also be in this
in every 80s movie.
The guy who plays believe it or not, character actor, and I'm gonna look up his name because I want to get it right. The guy who plays Futterman, his name is Dick Miller. He is a character actor. He's in a ton of stuff, including other horror movies. A very underrated horror movie that you hear about now. You're hearing about it because it's on Shudder. Is the classic Chopping Mall? Have you ever heard of that? Yes, he is in that. And he plays Mr. Futterman in this. Who's also in Gremlins 2. Yeah, I'll let you talk because I'm literally going through the entire movie. So this is your show. Sorry about that. Be quiet.
I invited you because
you didn't know this was going to happen.
I kind of did.
We've done like 100 episodes of found footage, and I've never been quite this animated, I think.
This is after recording multiple things. No, that was the reason I asked if you wanted to do it, is because I know this is like a big movie. I mean, we referenced this movie multiple times in our show on Found Footage Friday. So I knew when I wanted to do, because I do horror movie reviews every Saturday, I was like, I need to do some Christmas themed ones. I was like, oh my God, I have to ask Tom if he wants to come on and talk Gremlins, because I know it's one of your favorites, or maybe your favorite, the favorite, I'm not sure, but no, I love this movie. It's a constant rewatch for me. It doesn't even have to be Christmas. It's just a fun movie. Like I had like a slightly bigger version of the stuffed one that you have, and I was like obsessed with Gizmo because he was like the cutest thing. I had a rescue cat that I saved. I gave it away because I was like trying to find it a home because I had too many. But I rescued a cat one time that like reminded me so much of him that was like what I named it, even though I didn't get to keep it. Like it just I don't know. Like I really liked this movie. I like it a lot. I think it's super fun. I think my like some of my favorite scenes besides the mom in the kitchen, because that is definitely like top, is I love when they're in the bar, and I love when they're in the movie theater. Those two scenes are just so over the top funny. And like I'm watching this girl, her character's name is Kate.
Yes,
she's
Kate.
Like trying to bartend. I'm like, get out of there! What are you doing?
Pouring the beer.
She's like trying to work, and like I'm like, it's time to go. Like, these are literal monsters in your bar. Like, time to go home, Kate.
That's awesome. Another like very sort of like 80s reference is the Stairmaster scene.
Oh.
So again, the old lady, I'm forgetting her name. Mrs. Deagle. Yes.
Oh, the wicked witch.
Sounds like Deagle. She wants to kill his dog. But at the end, the Gremlins, their whole thing is they mess with things, and they mechanically, I guess,
like technology.
Yeah. And so they mess with her Stairmaster, and she just like flies out the window. So I think when I was a kid and I watched this, I don't know that I realized that like they actually kill people in this movie.
Because it's a couple of deaths. Silly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's so like you're like laughing the whole time. But yes, Mrs. Deagle and maybe the science teacher, although
the neighbor, the other Miss you just said his name.
Futterman?
Yeah, he's the neighbor, right?
No, they survive. They're in the second movie.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Does he just get attacked?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I can't remember.
They make it to the second movie. They like wreak mayhem all over the town. They jump in the town pool and multiply.
Oh my God. They go through the buffet at whatever like place that was that they go through with that. They're really funny. And technically, like that means that Randall is also like a gremlin, because his abilities with technology and the things he creates.
Yes.
Not too good.
Not great.
And I love that his wife is like over it, but she's so supportive anyway. She like uses all of his technology like that he builds. And like there's that moment where the sun comes down for breakfast, or it's like I guess morning time. Yep. And she's like, no, we have to, like, she's trying so hard to like push using like the inventions. And he's just like, oh my God, like none of this stuff works.
That's just like a really great running gag in the movie. Like literally everything in their house
falls apart. Like
his inventions, they don't work. There's the juicer, the telephone,
the coffee maker puts out like mud.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super funny.
It's there's a lot of there's a lot that's wrong in it. I love the score for this movie.
Oh yeah,
Just like one of those things that sticks in your brain.
it's like hijinks music.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, love it. Yeah, this is a classic. I can't imagine there are many people who haven't seen this. I mean, this is like I think this might be possibly my introduction to, even though it's not horror, it might be my introduction to horror. Does that make sense? This was the gateway movie for me. What was your gateway horror movie? Poltergeist? Yeah. This is probably for me, but this is more accessible to kids. Like in the 1980s, like kids watch this movie.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought anything of it.
You know what I mean? Like, but now I don't know. I don't know if it's many kids who watch this. Maybe they would.
I bet my son would love this. He's 4. I bet he would love it. He
yeah,
wouldn't understand it.
My son was looking at my shirt tonight and like asking about these. He has not. He's 6. He has not seen this yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I have on like all kinds of characters. He asked me about all my stuff too. He asked me why Freddy Krueger only has scratches, meaning claws, on one hand.
Yeah.
And then his school uniform is navy blue and red stripes. So he was like, he has a sweater like me. And I was like, no, he doesn't.
You, yeah.
No, he doesn't.
That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Like in the 80s, I mean, when I was a kid, everyone knew who Freddy Krueger was. Like,
yeah.
There was even like a kids show or some like advertising campaign with Freddy Krueger in it, I believe. You have to look it up, but yeah, I believe. It doesn't make any sense, but like
no.
The 80s, right? The 80s. Different time. So this was this is what I think
that makes sense.
Into
you
horror.
had a softer gateway than I did.
That's why I love writing about like monsters. My books are almost all have some sort of monster. Malevolent Nevers, which is a book I wrote, which I would say is somewhat inspired by this movie. So I'm a huge fan. If you couldn't tell.
Huh. I'm like, now I'm thinking about that story. I'm like, inspired by Gremlins.
Just sort of loosely. Yeah.
Just sort of. It's so funny. I don't have to introduce you really anymore on Found Footage Fridays. If you were like a first-time guest, I would have mentioned that you were a writer. I'm sorry.
So are most people that you have on this show first-time guests?
Huh?
Are most people that you have on this show first-time guests?
Well, yeah, because I just started doing it like September. Because I was doing it as a podcast only episode with Tasha, and it was Horror Bestie Breakdown. It was just me and her consistently. Mm-hmm. And then and now it's a YouTube Saturday episode, and so I put it out there like, who wants to talk movies, you know.
You have other Christmas horror you're doing?
Yeah, so by the time this one comes out, there will already be a Black Christmas episode and a Krampus episode.
Have I told you that I have never seen Black Christmas? I haven't.
Are you going to remedy that?
I'm going to watch it this year. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and it's my favorite Black comedy.
Okay. Oh, it's a comedy.
You'll see.
The original. There's a remake, right?
There's 2 remakes.
2. Okay.
Mm-hmm. There's like a 2009 or something, and then like a 2019 or something like that.
Completely, none of them are related. They're all just remakes of each other. Yeah. Okay.
This one of the and I will say this on the comedy side, it's very dark. It's very dark. It's very political. I don't know that you will necessarily. It's very subtle political. I wouldn't say it's like over the top. It's not like a certain found footage movie that we watched not that long ago. It's not like that. But this has some messaging to it. Okay. I think when you I don't know if you may not even like, because it's so subtle.
Is it a slasher movie?
Yeah.
Slasher. Okay.
Home invasion slasher. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You might like it. It's got some really funny bits and some really good. Oh my God, you got to watch it. Yeah. Watch it this year. And then you got to like message me after you watch it and tell me what you think.
Well, like Christmas horror is becoming a thing. Have you seen all these movies coming out with like?
Yeah, we've got 2 Santas and a Grinch. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. There's like a horror Grinch. Did I hear there's like horror Peter Pan now? I know there's horror Winnie the Pooh.
Peter Pan.
I feel like I saw a list and it was like Winnie the Pooh, Peter Pan, and the
I
Grinch
love
are all
it.
now
I'm
horror.
all about it. I also really like, this is like not quite the same thing because these are going to be probably, those are going to be like really effed up, I think. But I also really like dark fairy tale stuff. Like, give me like a weird Sleeping Beauty story where it's like really off the hinges. Like, but yeah, there Christmas horror is a big one. And then I also really like it's more, this is more of like a psychological horror, but Puka. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's on Hulu.
What is it?
Puka.
No.
Pooka exclamation point. It's psychological. It's very good. I watched it last year for the first time because before that movie came out, Puka is what I call my 4-year-old. So when I was scrolling through and it came up, I was like, oh,
something different. That's all it takes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, there's a lot of Christmas horror movies. I just,
well, there's a ton on Shudder. There are a bunch, which I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen any of them. So
I'm also reading some really fun Christmas horror shorts and a chapter from a book.
Good to know.
So lots of fun Christmas horror-y things this month. So
okay, well, Gremlins, everybody, 1984 classic.
Yes, agreed. Very, very good. If you made it this far and have not seen Gremlins, I don't know. I'm confused. I feel like, yeah. And then I like I said, I also really like the second one. I know the second one's like a walking television ad, but
it's a little more of a caricature of the first movie, but it's still fun.
That's a good way to, yeah, that's actually perfect. I think that's a perfect way to describe it. But I just like some of some of the actual gremlins in it, like the girl, the kissy one. She's hysterical.
Well, if you really like the bar scene and the movie theater scene in the first movie, yeah, that's the entire second movie. So
it's so fun. Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on and talking Gremlins.
Enough. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
This will be the last time you are going to invite me on this show.
No, it's not. You just agreed to do Blood and Honey.
Nope, I did. That's right.
And you have to continue to do Found Footage Friday. So.
Oh well, yeah. That doesn't count though.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all I have for this episode of Saturday Horror Movie Reviews. Yeah, I think the one that I'm supposed to do last may change, so I won't say what that one is. But if you didn't watch the Krampus episode or the Black Christmas episode, they were fantastic conversations. I highly recommend going back to watch those. And always you can find more Tom at Found Footage Fridays. There's a playlist. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the next one.
Bye, everybody.